We're just going to jump right into the first presentation. So everyone, I would like to introduce you to Margarita Diaz, the Executive Director of Proyecto Fronterizo de Educación Ambiental in Tijuana. They are a nonprofit focused on spreading awareness about environmental and environmental health issues. I invited Margarita to speak because for folks in the U.S., we usually hear one side of the story regarding the Tijuana River. The reality is that the river and watershed do not care about borders. So I asked Margarita to come and fill us in on environmental and water quality issues down in Tijuana. So take it away.
No, thank you very much. Thank you, Luke, for the opportunity to talk to you guys and to talk, like Luke just said, to tell you what's happening in this side of the border and what are we doing as an organization here. So I will start talking about a little bit of the NGO, that I'm the director of the NGO, and we are a non-profit organization founded in 1991. So last week we turned 29, and we are dedicated to influence environmental policy and involving the community in actions that raise awareness and protect the integrity of coastal riverine ecosystems within the Tijuana watershed. So we have many years working in this area, in this region. And our Tijuana Waterkeeper program is one of our we have 3 programs in the organization, and this is one of them. And we started in 2000 when we got our license from Waterkeeper Alliance. And a little bit of Waterkeeper Alliance is an organization with the mission of having drinkable, fishable, and swimmable waters worldwide. Right now we are 350 waterkeepers from 45 countries. So it has grown very quickly, and we are all aligned. And our main activity the first one is to monitor water. Here in the region, in Baja California, we are pioneers because we are the first community lab that is taking this information and having this data in Baja California. In the whole peninsula, we are 4 waterkeepers that we are monitoring, but we are the only one in Baja California Norte, and we are the only ones that are monitoring weekly. The other, our friends are monitoring monthly. I want to share a little bit of our area. This is you can see the border right there, and this is one of the stretch. This is a point where we monitor. Here's a lighthouse, so we call this the lighthouse point. We monitor it right here, and in the U.S. they monitor just across the border. This is another site. Here's a park, and we have a problem here in this area, so we monitor it in this. We call it Parque Mexico. This is Playa de Tijuana. It's where the office is. It's where I live. Very happy. This is another area. This is a creek, so we have an outfall here, so we're monitoring here. This is the first 3 ones. You can see in the back is San Diego. This is the estuary. So this is the region. This is our beautiful coastline. So right now we have been monitoring in 5 sites. This one is sometimes we monitor, but mainly El Faro, the one that I show you, Parque Mexico, Cañadas Tecas, the 3 pictures that I show you. Then El Vigía, that is in the south part. So we have from El Faro to El Vigía, we have an area of sandy beach. Then from here to this one that is San Antonio Norte, it's like a creek, so you cannot go back into the water. There's no sandy area. And then we have another stretch from San Antonio down to Playa Blanca. So we have 5 kilometers here and 5 kilometers south. This red dot discharge of our bigger treatment plant in Tijuana, the whole city discharged right here. And also the river, the water that flows through the river, and you have read in the news that Mexico fixed it, and the U.S. says it's not right, the fix they made. But what they did is we have all the water that comes from Tecate, all from the up mountains, and then go down, but it crossed the whole city. So we have a lot of intrusion. We have a lot of sewage going to the river. So what they're doing is they're capturing here just before crossing the border, the water, so we don't have impacts in the estuary. But the problem is they're pumping the water to this point and charging to the ocean. So the problem stays in Mexico. It's not solved. They just move a little bit. How we do this monitoring? We go out and take our samples. We don't do it with volunteers. We do it with internships from the university here in Baja California, and I have a responsible person, a chemical engineer, that she's in charge of the lab. So we go to the ocean, we take the sample, we go to the same process, index process with enterococcus, and we do it by the book as is supposed with our protocols. And this is a little bit of how many samples we have done. So we started the program started in 2010, but it took us many years to get the funding and get the space and all the things that we had to move. It was hard. Also, the government here in Mexico was not very happy that we were going to install a lab. So they were telling us that we couldn't, that it was not possible, that the only people that can monitor it was the government. But looking through the laws and everything, we find out that it was not true. We could do it if it was with our means, with our money and our time. So after going through all those things with the government, also it was very, very hard to get the money because we couldn't get it from Mexico. We got it from the U.S. So we finally got the money. We established the lab. We started in 2014. This was half of the year. San Diego Coastkeeper was one of the main mentors that was helping us to set up and have the program running. So since 2014 till 2019, we have 1,019 samples. This is some graphics, and I started in 15 because 14 we were getting the hang of the lab. And you can see each line is each site. This red line shows the limit that we are supposed to have in Mexico. That is more probable number of enterococcus. In the United States, it's 100, and above 106 or something like that, it's the beach has to be closed, so it's marked as red. And in Mexico, it's 200. So we have a little gap here. And then you can see some of this data that is from the south of the outfall of the treatment plant. We have these high levels, and it's not like 200 and then you have 300. Here goes above 1,000. So we did some geometric so it will show inside the table. So what we encounter here is in 2015, like in October, November, we had this big peak, a lot of sewage. It was very, very bad, this area of the beach. And then the next year, as you can see, it was not working right because the whole 2016, it was very, very bad situation. We have 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. It was high, and also the other beaches were pretty under the 200. Then in 2017, it was still the treatment plant. When we were talking to the government, we were saying the treatment plant is not working, it's broken. We can see it. We 1 kilometer south of the outfall, we were monitoring in the outfall. So it was, and the government was saying that everything was okay, and we were very pushing and asking the government to close the beach, that portion of the beach, that it was the south part, the 5 kilometers of beach, because it's one area that many surfers like to go there. Also in 2017, it was this big spill and all these problems in Mexico because we have a very big heavy rain. So this was a very bad year, 17. And at the end of the year, at the beginning of 18, we finally got the government to to say that the beach, that area was closed. But they just said it in a meeting. They didn't put signs, they didn't advise the people, so we were very upset with that. In 18 also, as you can see, the numbers were high and off the chart. 19, it was the same, and started to have other areas that were also out of range. So it was getting north also. But mainly, as you can see, our problem in these graphics is that we have the problem in Mexico. We didn't have many, some of these are El Paro and Parque Mexico, and they were under the limits. So our problem, and we're talking to the government, is they were very, very looking to the U.S. side and saying like, we have a problem with the water from Mexico crossing to the U.S. But here our information, and you can see here El Faro, the lighthouse, just at the border, all this side. So if we go from El Faro to San Antonio, is going south. This is the farthest point. The treatment plant will be here in the middle, and then you have this one. So you can see here that the impact of the treatment plant is in Mexico. It's really bad, but it's in Mexico, not it's in the U.S. as it's seen in the newspapers. And what we have been doing is we have been advising. We have, as waterkeeper, we can use the Swim Guide, this app that is very useful, and we have been publishing the information because the government monitors every month or every 3 months, and they publish the information like 3 months later. So for the people that is going to use the beach, it's not very useful to have this information like 3 months after you took the sample. So what we do is we go on Thursday, we monitor, on Friday we get the results, and we publish the information. So the public is going to the beach on the weekend. They will have a little bit of certainty of what's the quality of the water. So we have been doing that thing weekly. And this is the amount of people that has downloaded the app and is using it. So as you can see, people are very interested, because also the government, one meeting told me like, no one is interested in that data. So I said, yes, there are a lot of people using the beach, and there are people, a lot of people do want to know if they can go into the ocean. So this is our numbers, and they stopped, as you can imagine, in 2019, because 2020 has been very, very difficult. We stopped our monitoring, and we have been encountering all these things, that the beach was closed, all this quarantine and the problems that everybody knows. So we didn't monitor until the beginning of November, that the conditions were like a little better, and we decided to go out and see how things were out there. In the meantime that we were going to go out in the summer, the state governor published this sanitary alert. It was July 27. It was published like officially in our, this is an official publication, and it was declared again that is an alert. The same stretch of beach that you can see that from 2015 we were saying like, we have a problem here, we have a problem here. Finally they say that it's closed. It's an emergency and it's closed. But again, they published it here, they said it, but it was not in media, there are not signs on the beach, so nobody knows that we are in an alert, and it's a declaration from the government. So we have been going out to media to tell people like, don't go there, something is really bad. But from it, as you can see, in July, we were not monitoring. So we said, okay, well, now it's closed, it's better. And the other stretch of the beach was closed because of the quarantine. So we said, okay, well, no one is going into the water. We are not monitoring, but no one is supposed to go into the water either way. But on November, we went out, and it was, I think from all these years, the worst scenario we have seen. all the beaches from El Faro to Playa Blanca, San Antonio, and we have scores of 20, like the whole trail was light up. So we couldn't count it because it was the whole thing. We have to do more dilutions. And it was very, very frightening because it was like the next week it was the same. We have very, very high numbers, and not only, and we have high numbers on the beach, like from El Faro to El Vigía, that is a very, the more public beach and the more used beach that we have. So generally these ones, as you saw in the graphic, they were clean, but now this is the worst data we have encountered. Then the third week we went back, all the beaches were very, very high. We have numbers that we didn't have before. And it was very impressive because we were like, people in media and social media saying like, yes, with this quarantine, everybody's at home and the nature and all the animals are swimming and jumping of joy because we are not there, but they're not because it's looking bad. So the fourth week, it's still high. We have these high numbers. And then we had to stop because we here in Tijuana, we came again to red light for the quarantine, so we have to go back. We stopped monitoring because we don't want to expose anyone. But in this time that we were doing this month in November, we talked to media and we asked them to go with us to do the monitoring. So we have a lot of media coverage about these results and telling the people like, please don't go into the water. We have a lot of videos and things. In this one in particularly, I'm talking and I'm saying like to the government that they have to focus in Mexico and stuff. Like it's important, this binational issue to be encountered. We have to work hand on hand with the U.S., but they have to be their attention in Mexico because they are Mexican government. They have to take care of Mexicans. And we have this binational also media coverage. So it was very important. We have a lot of views. One of the reporters from Badabun is a very popular YouTube channel, so they interview us, and so we have a lot of views from that. So this is we are saying like, stop, please don't go to the beach right now because things are not good. And we have been asking also for the government to redo the meetings. We have a program in Mexico. It was set up in 2003. It's called Playas Limpias, Comité de Playas Limpias, a committee of beach waters. And we're sitting there, government, society, private sector. And just like in last month also was the first meeting of the year. And we have been pushing and telling them like, we have to talk about this, we have to do something, and it has to be signed out at the beach that the quality of the water is not healthy, and it's a public health risk that we are encounter here in Tijuana. So we are trying to do our best to keep up the work and to try to advise as many people as we can that right now is not a good time to go to our beaches because things are not working. We have a very big infrastructure problems here in Tijuana that are causing this. It's not just a treatment plant. It's a lot of developments that are on the coast that they don't have treatment plants. They just pour in the sewage to the ocean. So we have a lot of problems here in Mexico. And the thing that you read in the news, that is the water that is crossing through the river, I always tell them that it's a watershed, it's a coastal watershed, and it will drain to the ocean and it will drain through the estuary. So if it rains, it will cross. We cannot stop a river, but we can improve the quality of the water that is running in the river, and that's the job of the Mexican government, and we have to work very, very hard in that part. But I think it's not, because sometimes the government also says like, yes, we're going to stop the water from crossing. And I say, we cannot stop the water from crossing. We have to stop crossing polluted water. So that's different. So this is a little bit of what we're doing and what's happening here, and we are trying to work. That's why we Kill the Bay, we have been talking and trying to figure out how we can share information and how we can use more their app also and have this information to get to as many people as we can and in the right time and in the right way. Thank you.
Thanks for that, Margarita. So it's let's open it up for questions. Anyone have any questions for Margarita?
This is Nick. I just want to say.
Oh, go for it, Nick. Sorry.
I was just going to say this is great work, Margarita, and much needed. I was wondering if you did it beyond working with the keepers and NGOs. Have you worked at all with San Diego State University? I kind of put message in the chat about it, but when I went to school there and I was in the Center for Latin American Studies program, and there was a dual effort with the public health program at the university, and they would do some cross-border work where they focused primarily on the agriculture being done down in Baja California Sur, but I think that this would be another thing that they'd be really keen on partnering with, and I have some really good contacts there.
Yeah, it will be awesome. We have been also we're also been working with the counties, San Diego County and the city of San Diego, that they do some monitoring here, and they have been sharing the information to us, and we have been sharing information. But yes, all the help, we have to do a lot of research because the decisions are being taken without much research. So we have to do more research, and the university will be perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be great because you could leverage not only the students, which is basically free labor, but also their grant funding and the expertise of the professors that oversee the program. And I have a personal relationship with the director of Latin American Studies program, and I know she'd be really interested in talking with you about this. So if you maybe if I can get your information, or maybe I can get it from Luke or whoever, I can definitely make that connection. Because it sounds like awesome work and definitely needed, and I just want to applaud you for everything you're doing down there. It's great.
Thank you.
Yeah, Margarita, you can send your email in the chat, or I'm happy to provide Nick with it. But I had a question. I was wondering, does Baja California, does the government there sample at all? And how does your data differ from their data, if they do?
I just posted my email. The problem is that we don't have access to their data. Like, they posted in their official pages, and we can see only in vacation, like in spring break and summer, and that's it. And we encountered the last monitor we did, the team that was there on the beach doing their work, they crossed with the health authority, that they were monitoring also the same day, the same time. They went to them and they asked them like, oh, that's how lucky we are. We just find each other. And we want to see if we can share information because we are monitoring the same day, the same time. So we perfect to do cross information to see our data and see how our results are doing. They didn't want it. They were not very friendly, and we haven't got that information. So it's very difficult because we don't really know when they are monitoring. Even the lifeguards, when one meeting, one of the captain of the lifeguards, he was saying in a meeting, like, I don't know when the health authority comes to monitor because I don't see them. I see Tijuana water keepers coming, and I see the water authority coming, but I never see the health authority. So it's very, very difficult to get information, even if we are like really, really looking for it. So you can imagine for the general public is non-existent. And so it's a very big problem. And also when I was saying like in 2018 that we finally got the authorities to close that beach through this committee, the health authority, the state health authority told us that since the beach was closed, officially closed, and the problem was still there, they stopped monitoring. So they don't have data. So the only data that we have is our data and the data from the water authority. So it's important. So it has a value, what we're doing.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, well, I take that as a no. So Margarita has provided her email there. Is that a good email address to send any, questions anybody has?
Yes.
Okay, great. So yeah, reach out to Margarita if something pops into mind later. And
Thank you.
yeah, thanks for joining us, Margarita.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
yeah, so anybody? I will take that as a no. We're 2 hours into the meeting, and folks are probably pretty tired. So yeah, like I said, feel free to email me any questions or comments that you have. And yeah, thank you, everybody.